Time to head into Bianco Hills one more time, or actually 2 more times, because I don't see a reason not to go into Episode 7 yet. Episode 8 I'm gonna hold off on for a little while. Secret of the Dirty Lake. Oh good, another secret that's not actually secret. And like everything else in this game, there's more than one way to skin a cat. By which I mean more than one way to get through this stage. Which I think is fun. I like Bianco Hills. It's simple, but I like the white building structure. I don't know if I already said that this is probably calcite, because I think that's the pure white building material. And, on the subject of games that are similar-ish to Super Mario Sunshine, there is A Hat in Time, very clearly inspired by this one. It's not out yet, but it will be sometime this year, which is fun. The world could always use more collectathons, in my opinion. That was different from what I expected. But yeah, there's, in A Hat in Time's pre-alpha stages, there was a song used called Of Calcite and Adventure, which is a song that I really liked, because it was, I don't know, it had this nice, fresh, vibrant feel to it, and it's unfortunately not going to be in the final game because the composer's changed, but I don't know, it's still on SoundCloud, which I appreciate because it's worth a listen. It's kind of a shame that the A Hat in Time pre-alpha footage no longer exists because it was removed before the Kickstarter. There was an announcement video for it and everything. But, I still have memories of, like, one of the videos having one of the Mafia blokes swearing for no particular reason. It was kind of great in a kid-appropriate game. Alright, so moving on, I suppose. Now, the way that you're usually supposed to get to this one is you use the lily pads, you jump on one and move it over to, like, you use the flood to propel it through the water. What I like to do instead is this, because it works just as well, and it's also maybe faster. I don't really know. It's also a little bit, like, cumbersome to deal with the lily pads whenever they deteriorate slowly in the dirty water, so I'm okay with this. Anyway, I need to not sing it every single time, but it's just too catchy. It's the catchiest rendition of the classic Mario Brothers theme. Ooh, and I like these platforms, these blocks here. I can't explain why, they're just really satisfying to run around on, and I like the platforming. Like, it's not really platforming, it's just, I like the challenge that you're supposed to take out of them. You have to pay attention to how they rotate and go to the correct side. And this game is pretty lenient about its slopes. Like, you're unlikely to get pushed off of a slope if you're just a little bit careful whenever the blocks move around, which I appreciate. Oh yeah, now I'm thinking about this. Like, one of the reasons that I was interested in playing this game again is because I was trying out the Dolphin emulator, just for the heck of it. Because I got a new computer, and I figured, you know, I might as well see if I can run GameCube games on it, just for, like, research purposes, if I want to get a really quick reference for games that I like, in terms of how they feel and how the levels are designed and whatnot. And I noticed that those platforms in that level actually had these dotted lines where the platforms move. Because in the actual game, as you just saw, there aren't any dotted lines. But I guess the dotted lines were there for, like, just an indication of where they're supposed to move. And they weren't made transparent on the emulator, so you could still see them. So it's like a weird, unintentional look into the game's design. kind of fun. Shadow Mario on the loose. This is what every Mission 7 on every level is. You always have to chase Shadow Mario, and it is always very easy. But I have no problem with this. Like, people say that games have to be a challenge to be fun. Come on, this is kind of fun. I like this. People always like to point out that it's weird how Shadow Mario gets damaged by the water that you spray from Flood, but doesn't get damaged by water that he swims around in. But, I think the real trick is that it's just pressurized water. It's a little bit silly that I'm even getting damaged in this mission. You keep running into him, but it's not really a big deal. Could use the big spray. Big spray is usually pretty effective, actually. I have sort of a tradition every time that I do one of these Shadow Mario missions. Because there's a way to glitch out the camera whenever you get the shine, and the shines in Shadow Mario missions work a little differently from the others. Because they float up and then they float down and they don't have hit collision until they reach the ground. So I like to do that, and have Mario face the opposite direction. It is really stupid, but I enjoy it. As long as you go into first person and turn around, that happens. At least in this version of the game. I don't know if it's present in all versions, because I know that there were some changes between earlier and later versions of this game. Later versions don't have this walk underwater glitch near the end. Yeah, I think that's all I want to do in that stage for now. Maybe I can collect more blue coins while I'm in Delfino Plaza, because I like hanging around this place. Just feels very happy and fun, which is unusual, because in video games I really like tropical levels, but in real life I don't like the tropics very much, or at least I don't like the idea of the tropics. I don't like the idea of, like, going to Hawaii and being near a volcano, because volcanoes scare me. I don't want to be near anything that might erupt. Like my bladder, no. I don't like that idea, and any time that I've been to the beach, I've never found it to be the most pleasant experience. Not that I've been many times, but I wasn't a fan of walking around in the salt water and having it slosh into my mouth and then I had to throw it up. I wasn't a fan of the hot sand or the overcast weather, which just kind of ruins the whole summery type of thing anyway. And then, I wasn't a fan of seeing, like, 100,000 jellyfish washed up on shore. I don't want to see a whole bunch of disgusting beached gelatinous creatures, gelatinous creatures, all over where I'm supposed to be walking. And I don't really find the actual beach to be all that pretty. Like, in video games, they're a lot more colorful than they seem to be in real life. They're just, hey, here's some tan sand, here's some blue ocean and blue sky, and that's kind of it. It doesn't get much more exciting than that. Maybe it's different in Hawaii, but I wouldn't know. Or Puerto Rico, or Puerto Rico. So, let's fight that boss again, because why not? It's everyone's favorite boss. Except this one's extra special because you have to spray it 6 times instead of 3. And it is no different otherwise. So it's actually just more tedious. Again, I don't particularly care because it's easy and I guess sort of like a nice break. I kind of like the fact that you have to defeat something in order to open these stages instead of just they arbitrarily unlock. But even still, it's just kind of, I mean, it's pointless. I'll admit that it's pointless, but I still like it. I can't always explain why I like things. And this is where we're going to deposit our blue coins once we have 240 of them. These raccoons over here. I want to get a better look at that short one, but I can't because no camera control. Looked like it had a red shirt. It's kind of cute. I like saying cute, like cute. Cute. That's the way you have to say it, because cute is not cute enough. Rico Harbor. Uncle Rico Harbor. Puerto Rico. This is a nice stage. It's one of the more energetic ones in terms of how it feels. Because Bianco Hills was fairly relaxed. This is also fairly relaxed, but it feels more like a happen-in place. Maybe it only feels like a happen-in place because of the music. Which, come to think of it, this is, I don't know if this is true for every level in the game, but for a number of them, it's the same motif for every level's theme. Like, the way that Super Mario World has do 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 as its motif for almost all of its songs. And Yoshi's Story has, I'm trying to think, burner, burn burn burner as its motif for most of its levels or all of its levels. Like, this game has that same sort of thing going. Because the Bianco Hills music and the Rico Harbor music and the Gelato Beach music, all the same, basically, just played differently with different instruments. Which is something that I didn't notice for a long time. I feel like it's most obvious in Yoshi's Story. Getting a lot of blue coins here. And defeating a lot of jelly blobs. Stupid jelly blobs. They are really useless enemies, because they try to attack you and then they explode. Like this one here. Yeah, here's something that I noticed once. You can just climb under the water. It still has an air meter and everything, and I'm pretty sure that if you wait to drown, he's just still climbing. Like, his animation does not change at all. I tested this once just because I was curious. I've also tested, like, drowning in the water while holding a fruit, because Mario continually grunts as he's holding a fruit. And, yeah, he's still grunting after he dies. It's a little stupid. Alright, can I get back up? Yes. Thank you for telling me how flipping gates works. I could not have guessed this otherwise. I mean, it's still nice to have the tutorial, which doesn't impede on the gameplay at all. It's just kind of there if you want to read it. And here's where you can really learn how to use it if you want to go through this whole maze, which there's no reason to, but it's kind of fun, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. This game has lots of weird story-ish elements. Not really story, but this guy here, he can throw you all the way over to that cliff way on the other side of the island, but only later in the missions. If you talk to him now, he's just, "You want me to toss you away all the way across the port? Sorry, but I don't have that kind of power yet." And then he just does this. I don't know. It's a thing. Let's get another blue coin here. If it wants to pop out of the sky, or out of the submarine. The very yellow submarine. It's not just a yellow submarine, it is about as yellow as they come. Except maybe it's a little bit greenish too, but maybe that's just the lighting. Now I'm hearing what sounds like a plane in the game. I guess that was just the submarine lowering. I wouldn't think that's the kind of sound that would make. Kinda like collecting the blue coins in this stage. Because they're basically everywhere in the first mission. Lots of bloopers here. We could have a whole blooper reel here. That's surely a joke that nobody has ever made before. And let's see, somewhere up here is another M. Another number M. Metroid other M. Now here is where it gets Trixie Dixie. Trixie Dixie Kong. I think I want to be even further away than this. It is recommended that you use the turbo nozzle, which we don't get for a long time, to mess with this X. Because it is not particularly lenient with its timing. It was about to disappear, but I got it just in time. I've gotten sort of used to that now because I've done this enough times that it has become easier. But still, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And now let's see. I want to... Okay, that's not going to work out. I'm going to have to wait for it to appear again. X marks the spot. Come on, X. Come on, my X who has disappeared. I don't know. Yes, my ex. Talking about your ex-boyfriend's exes. Why do you keep saying that? And I'm not getting this jump quite right. I guess that worked well enough, though. Come on. Do better. I did not handle that very well, but this one's more lenient than the other one, so that works out. That's okay. How many have I gotten? 14. I think that's how many that I want to get, so... Just gonna move on now. And... tear this random tentacle apart. For no particular reason. It's just here. Well, actually there is a reason. It's because the oil is... there's oil covering the whole... Well, it should be ink, but it's oil at the same time. I don't know. It's BP. That's all we need to know. Rusty Bucket Bay. Yeah, so this is a boss that you're supposed to tear its limbs off. I would like to not do that because it's mean, so instead I'm just gonna pull its nose. But its limbs were in the way, so... Alright, maybe I can just do that on the second phase. I'd rather do it on the first phase, though, because I feel better doing it that way. Yeah, there we go. It is not necessary to pull off its nose, or pull off its arms, or pull off its legs, or pull off its clavicus majoris. I don't know if that's actually a thing. Okay. Now I'm gonna do it the normal way, because it's necessary to see just how dark this Mario game gets. And boop. The way it does that, I don't know, it's kind of creepy. But I like that it's kind of creepy. I like when child-friendly games have moments in them that are not quite as child-friendly, but they're not done in a way that has lots of blood or something, so it's like, nobody really cares. It's totally acceptable. So long, Gooper Blooper, we hardly knew ye. We really didn't know you at all, actually. Saying hardly is actually a bit generous. And I lost more health in that fight than I thought. Not still a whole lot, but... whatever. Waha! Yep, let's move on. Oh gosh, I remember the next mission has the... it also has to do with bloopers. You know what I might do is hold off on that for a moment, because I want to... I might as well get some more of Bianco Hills out of the way. I still don't want to do Mission 8 yet, but I want to get the Secret of the Dirty Late. I want to get the second Star Shine in that Star Shine Moonshine. So I'll just see you there in a moment. And here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice? Yeah, more red coins. And as I collect these red coins, somewhat precariously, I will talk about how I'm dead. Da boot.
Every time I see the too bad, I always think, like, whenever I read it backwards, just for fun. So I always say da boot.
I've been given da boot from the level. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think, like, my answer to what is the first game you ever beat is a question that keeps changing, because every once in a while I remember a game that I beat earlier than whatever one that comes to mind. For a while I thought it was Wind Waker, but then I'm pretty sure I beat this game before Wind Waker, and I don't know if there were any games before that. But I believe this might be the first game that I ever beat. And it was this big moment for me because I'd always wanted to beat a video game, but I was never very good at them. Oh, did I just miss out on my chance? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I'm just gonna start over, I guess. Like how I'm not so great at one of the easier missions. Yeah, I remember beating this game, not completing it, but just beating it. Getting to the final boss and seeing the credits and everything. And I made a really big deal out of it with my parents. I was saying, like, I finally did it, I beat a video game, I'm so happy. And, can I get a reward for this? Like, I wanted ice cream, just to celebrate that I actually beat something for once. And my dad, at the time, was really against this idea, like, come on, man. Playing the video game is its own reward, why do you need something else? Which is sort of a fair point, I guess, but it was still a big moment for me and I wanted to celebrate it in some other way besides just, hey, it happened, the end. I don't know. I mean, I was a bit of a brat, so I can't exactly blame him for reacting the way that he did. It was just something that I recall. And that's all she wrote. Who is she? Who knows? Who's she? What's going on? Well, earlier today... Whoops. And then the camera zooms out and you see the postman, then he does a laugh for a fraction of a second. And then it just cuts to the next scene. Name that movie. It's all of the other reindeer. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that in case, like, I'm not sure if anyone would know at all what I'm talking about. Alright, so that's enough for this episode, I think. For this video, because the missions are never mind. Next time, maybe we'll go more to Rico Harbor Barber Shop Quartet.